Hey guys, today I'll be ranking every accessory in Hypixel Skyblock. I'll be ranking them based on rarity, cost, and actual perks that they give. I won't be using this as simply saying what are the best talismans overall, or else all the legendaries would just be on top. This is more of a guide on what ones you should go for and what every player should get. For accessories that are upgradable, I'm only going to be featuring the best versions of it, so I'm not going to include the Feather Talisman, the Feather Ring, and the Feather Artifact. I'll just do the Feather Artifact and include them all in it. Same with Potion Affinity and all of the others. Starting off with the Bait Ring, this was the most expensive talisman in the game for ages. It still goes for over 10 million coins on the auction house, but it is absolutely worthless. It's only a rare, which is awful compared to most of the others, and the actual perk it gives, 5% extra bait, is worthless. I'm level 27 fishing and I have never run out of bait. This is going strongly in the D tier. The Bat Artifact is literally 10 times cheaper than the Bait Ring and 2 rarities higher. That's 7% more crit damage. Bait Ring is awful. Bat Artifact everyone should get. It's going in the S tier. Now that we've got one on both extremes, we move on to the Campfire badge. This took me so long to get to Legendary, but everyone should try and get it to as high as they can without using too much money. You can get it to about rare without getting Mastiff set. After then it's going to cost you a lot. And upgrading it to the final one, even when you've completed the trials, still costs 1,000,000 coins in Junglewood. It's still very useful to get because anyone can get it a few rarities high. I'll put it in the A tier, especially because it gives a lot of health regen during the really high tiers of it. The Candy Artifact is simply good for spooky festivals. It'll pay itself off really quickly. Go get one. It's useful. A tier. Now we get to the first Slayer talisman on the list, the Devourer Ring. It takes 39 Revenant Viscera to craft and is a rare accessory. Its ability is pretty worthless. 5 hearts every time you kill a mob. People using orbs are regenerating 100 health per second anyway. It's slightly cheaper than the Bait Ring, so I'll put it in C. I've put the Day and Night Crystal together because you may as well just have both of them at once. Then you get strength and defense all the time. It's very useful to get, very cheap, B tier, solid talisman. Time for a speed round. Ender Artifact, useless ability, really expensive for an epic. C. Experience Artifact, really cheap for an epic. A tier. Farmer's Orb, really cheap uncommon. Farmer Talisman, really cheap common. B tier. Feather Artifact, really cheap now that everyone's farming chickens. B tier. Alright, back to normal. The Fire Talisman is a common, it's alright, but I haven't found much fire in the game that's useful to be immune to. Put it in the B tier for now. Someone let me know if there's any fire that's useful to be immune to. Maybe the dragon fights are affected. Fish Affinity Talisman is super useful for fishing, 5% faster catch speed, and even if you're not going to fish with it, 300,000 coins for a rare talisman is really good. It's going in the A tier. The Frozen Chicken is a reward for doing the chicken jumping, I think, in the snow event. You just go up to Jerry, fly a chicken around for a while, and you get a 1% speed talisman for free. Although the speed's useless, a rare talisman for free is never bad. B tier. Just a reminder that this tier list isn't about what talismans are the best in the game and more about what are more worth to get. So if you're in the comments saying, oh, Devouring's better than Farmer's Orb, of course it is, but Farmer's Orb is so much cheaper and you'll get a lot more bang for your buck, so more people should go for it. Only go for Devouring or Ender Artifact if you have a lot of money to waste. Alright, back to the list. I don't understand the Gravity Talisman's perk. I don't know if anyone else does. You get a random amount of strength. I don't know if it works on other islands other than your own, but it's an uncommon accessory that's really cheap. B. I just realized I forgot to put Night Vision Talisman in here, and that's actually one of my favorite accessories. It makes you see in the dark, obviously. It's super useful. Just go use it anywhere if you're underground. I don't know if they fixed the bug that means you can't have 3 potion effects available. Just unequip it if you're using potions. Either way, I'm just going to put this right here for now. Ignore if it looks bad. I manually farmed cobblestone for so long to get the haste ring. It costs so much and it's hard to get the recipe, but then I finally got it and I realized haste 1 is worthless. You need haste 3 to instamine anything. It's a rare accessory. 4 stacks of enchanted cobblestone is pretty expensive. C tier. The healing ring is really hard to farm if you're new and don't have a good fishing rod, but buying off the auction house isn't too expensive. It's really useful. Extra 10% healing helps in pretty much every part of the game. Put it in B tier. The Hunter Ring. Looking at this may make some endgame players very angry. This talisman is the most expensive in the game. You need grizzly bait and 256 golden teeth to craft it. However, the worst part is grizzly bait has an equal drop chance of the overflux capacitor. Getting this means you could have had an overflux, but instead you get a talisman. a rare talisman. Other than the unlucky side of it, it's actually a good talisman. 5% combat XP is extremely good. It's the only talisman in the game that gives any skill XP. And in this time, everyone wants to grind skills. I'll put it in the B tier. I find that the Intimidation artifact is an absolute must to have, or at least the Intimidation Ring. Making no enemies spot you except for the really high level ones is so useful, just getting around the world and killing some low level enemies. I recommend everyone to get this. A tier. I have a bit of personal bias towards Lava Talisman. I used it to get my Revenant minion. I love just jumping in lava and feeling invincible in Minecraft. Lava's supposed to kill you, but with this it doesn't. It's super cheap, it's super useful. I want to put an S tier, but I think I'm a bit too biased. I'll put it in A. Speed round 2, go! Magnetic Talisman. Really annoying when fishing, otherwise pretty useful. B. Mine Affinity. Really cheap, common. C. New Year's Cake Bag. I didn't even know this was a talisman until I started making this video. It gives you health and damage. B tier, I guess. Pig's Foot. Rare, free, amazing. I'll put chicken up there as well. Why not? Piggy Bank. Stops you from losing coins when you die. A tier. Wait. This talisman. This is easily the best in the game. Potion Affinity Talisman. Actually, artifact. This gives you 50% extra duration on every potion. You need it. S tier. The Red Claw artifact is another one that you could have got Overflux instead of. It's not as expensive as the Hunter Ring, but the ability isn't quite as good. Epic Talisman's still very good. I'll put it in B tier. Only go for it if you're really grinding wolves or you're really rich. The Ring of Love is part of the Romero quest. You can level up in rarity, eventually getting it to legendary. So everyone should try and get it at least as far as they can, but it gets really expensive really quickly. Once you've got it to Epic, you need a Flower Minion and a Tuxedo. I wouldn't recommend going past Epic until you're really rich, but other than that, it's really useful and has potential to be a great talisman. A. Someone tell me why Romero starts here, goes over here, up to the graveyard, all the way to the Blazing Fortress just to come back to the mountains. Then he goes up to the mines, the trees, the Colosseum, all the way to the Mushroom Desert just to go back to where he started. This guy needs to download Google Maps to get a more direct route. The Scavenger Talisman can be bought at the NPC for 10,000 coins. It gives 0.5 coins per level. If you stack this with Scavenger 4 and a Raider's Axe, you'll make tons of money. Put it in the A tier, go and buy it. Creature Talisman takes 64 Enchanted Sponge, which is somewhere around 1 million coins. It's useful for fighting monsters, but isn't necessary at all for fishing. It's a rare talisman, it's fairly expensive. B. I think the devs might have got a bit lazy with some of these. Do you see any resemblances? Any reused content? The Seal of the Family, the talisman that everyone wanted to get as soon as it came out. But is it worth it? Let's say you buy one off the auction house for 30 million coins, which is fairly cheap. If you go around and buy a stack of enchanted things from the NPCs, such as rabbit feet, anything worth 100,000 coins, which is fairly expensive, you'll save 3,000 coins per stack. For you to make your 30 million back, you would need to buy 10,000 stacks of items. If you can make a stack in 1 minute, then you would spend 7 days clicking straight. You're never going to make your money back from this. The most money you can save by doing this that I found is buying Dragon Hunter books. You save 30,000 coins every time you buy one of the books, which seems like a lot, especially since you need to buy 16 books to max 1 sword. But to make your 30 million back, you'll need to max 62 swords to make 30 million coins back from this. Unless you're going to buy and sell 62 Midas swords, this isn't worth it. Don't get this unless you're extremely rich. D tier. These next two are cheap commons. The Skeleton Talisman is kind of worthless because there's no tough skeleton bosses in the game yet, but they might be added later. C tier for now. Speed Talisman is useless now, but in the Sugarcane collection it says there will be upgrades eventually, so that's going in B tier. You need level 7 Spider Slayer to get the Spider Artifact, which means you already need to be able to defeat tier 4 bosses, making the buff kind of useless. Unless in the next Slayer update, spiders are super overpowered and you need this, so I'll put it in B tier for now. It might be better when the next update comes out. Melody's Hair is a very unique talisman. You get it for free, it's epic, and you get it from playing the harp in the Foraging Island. If you can get this done, it's super useful and you should definitely get it. It's going in the A tier, especially since just by getting it, you get something like 50 intelligence through all the songs. Personally, I live in Australia. I haven't been able to get this because my ping is too high, but it's very useful anyway. Definitely get it if you can.
I missed one note.
The Survivor Cube is a reward from Spider Slayer level 7. Unlike the other talismans in Slayer, you get it for free as soon as you get to that level, no rare drops required. Healing plus 5% is very useful, especially versus Slayer quests. It'll be very useful in the next update and is free, so put it in the B tier. Talisman of Coins gives almost no coins. It's useless. C tier. The Torrential Talisman is an epic drop from spider bosses once you've hit Slayer level 6. It's really useful to deal more damage to everything in the game. Definitely get it, B tier. There are 3 talismans in Spider Slayer from level 6 to 7, so it's definitely worth getting your Slayers up. Go for Spider Slayer 7. Both the Vaccine and Village Affinity talismans are both common and really cheap, but kind of useless effects. Put it in the B tier because they're cheap. The Wither artifact can be bought from the Dark Auction for something like 10 million coins it normally goes for, and currently it's completely useless because there's no withers in the game. I like to say it's for the next update, but knowing Skyblock, these updates are very infrequent, so it's going to stay useless for a while. D tier. Wolfpaw is another 1 speed free pet. It's uncommon, which is alright. Put it in the B tier. Definitely get it if you can do the race in time. You'll need an aspect of the end and a grappling hook, but most players have that by now. To craft the Wolf Ring, you need a Weak Wolf Catalyst, which drops from Alpha Svens, which means you need to be doing a Tier 4 Sven boss already. This isn't that good for people that can already tank Tier 4 Svens, but if you can't, this might push you over the edge to finally get that Mana Flux Orb, so I would recommend buying this off the auction house if you're struggling with Sven. Put it in the B tier for now. Wood Affinity is a cheap uncommon, useful to get, B tier. Zombie Artifact is really good if you're struggling with Revenants, B tier as well. And now that I see it, maybe Farmer Rob should be B as well. Well, that's the full list. I hope this helped. I do see now that it's a bit top heavy, but instead of saying I did it wrong, I'm going to say that there are a lot of really good talismans in the game. Thanks for watching. If you disagree with this list, or want to change any of it slightly, then obviously you're wrong. As the richest player of all time, I know everything. Don't question me.